in India, everybody knows that the greatest economic activity happens every year during Diwali, which is why many corporate companies, especially in the lifestyle sector, especially in the electronic sector, especially in jewelry, luxury cars, all of these lifestyle brands, they come up with their new Deepawali range, and they start their new marketing campaign around this time every year, and every big company does that. Because most Hindus in India, it doesn't matter where they are, either they are from Tamil Nadu or Kashmir or wherever, most Hindus do their big ticket purchases around during Diwali. They buy new clothes, they buy gold, they buy jewelry, they buy homes, they buy cars, they buy clothes, they buy gift items. So there's a huge economic turnover. It's the biggest ticket event, economically speaking, in India. So, which is why there is a special Diwali campaign that most corporates undertake. And we have seen it over the years, and very typically, the Diwali campaign will have one or more of these things that signify Diwali. It'll have diyas in the background, it'll have the sky lanterns in the background, it'll have rangoli, it'll have flower lines, it will have people dressed in bright colored Indian clothes, and the general atmosphere is very happy. There are smiles on people's faces, they do namaste, they do puja, they're carrying puja thalis, they're exchanging gifts. The overall atmosphere is of joy, it's of happiness, it's of festivities, it's of light. There are pujas happening, the entire family has come together, there's lots of mithai. All of these images, when you think of Diwali, those are the images that come to your mind. Until about 2-3 years ago, every Diwali campaign of every corporate company used to feature these elements. And all the models, mostly female models in these campaigns, would have a bindi. Big, small, doesn't matter, but they would have a bindi because the bindi is the most visible symbol of being Hindu. That I think everybody knows. And even today, if you go to any Hindu home which is celebrating Diwali all over India, it doesn't matter where it is, whether it's in a city, whether it's in a big city, big metro, or a small city or a village, wherever, you will see that these are the same elements that are there in people's lives. People wear bright clothes, they wear new clothes, they smile, they meet their family, they cook delicacies or they buy delicacies, they buy many things. And the overall atmosphere is of joy, it's of festivities, it's of togetherness, and it has great religious significance. That's Deepavali. But recently, in the past 2-3 years, what we have seen is that big brands are slowly but deliberately de-Hinduizing Diwali. And they are turning Diwali into a nameless, secular, Urduized festival, which has no mention of the word Deepavali even. In the campaigns, the word Deepavali or Diwali is not even mentioned. So it suddenly becomes a generic festivities, festival of joy, festival of love, anything but Deepavali. When Deepavali is a very Hindu festival. It's not a festival just to eat good sweets and just to buy new clothes. It's a festival that has a religious significance. It's a festival that extends over 5 days, and every day has a different name. It has a different religious significance. And there are specific rituals which are followed all over India. So this year also many brands, and one of them is a leading lifestyle brand which is based in Delhi, and they have outlets everywhere. They have annual turnover of 1,500 crores, I'm sorry. And yeah, let's name it Fab India. Right. Because if they are doing this campaign openly, then it's time that people also know about it. Right. So they launched their campaign, which they called Jashn-e Rivaz, for some reason best known to them or their marketing team. And all the models that they showed, they were dressed like they'd come for a funeral. There was no joy, no smile on anyone's face. There were no diyas in the background. There was no rangoli. There were no sky lanterns. There was no puja, no mithai, nothing. It was just a generic campaign which could have been used for any festival, not necessarily for Diwali. Now, my point is, if you are launching a specific campaign for Diwali and you are asking Hindus to buy your overpriced, mediocre products, and I say that as a consumer, I think Fab India products are very overpriced and very overrated, but that you can dismiss it as my personal opinion. Besides that, I am saying a company that launches a campaign around Diwali, around festival time, that wants Hindus to buy from them. It wants Hindus who celebrate Diwali to buy for them specifically because it's a Deepawali campaign. But they are de-Hinduizing the entire festival. They're not putting bindis on the faces of their models. They're not showing any diyas. They're not showing any decorations. They're calling it a Urdu name and they are saying that this is a Diwali connection. So you want Hindu money, but you don't want to respect Hindu traditions. You want Hindus to spend on your products, but you don't want to give Hindus the kind of respect that their festivals and their traditions deserve. And that is the problem. And that is the biggest problem. So obviously there was a lot of backlash on it. Okay, how can you call a Diwali festival Jashn-e-Riwaz? Would you call any other festival, a festival of any other religion, with a Sanskrit name? Would you call Bakra Eid, for example, would you call it Ajaputra Balidan Utsav? Would you start a campaign like that? Would you call Ramzan Chandra Darshan Puja? Would you? Would any company in India start a campaign calling Islamic festivals by Sanskrit names and launching a campaign like that? No, they wouldn't. They would be too terrified. So why is all this gyan being given only to Hindus? Why are our festivals being de-Hinduized by Indian brands? And I'll tell you something here. I have seen some ads of American companies. I've seen an ad by Target, which is one of the biggest American retail chains. I've seen an ad by Bobbi Brown, which is one of the US cosmetic companies. And they show models with a smiling face when they are launching their Diwali range. They show models with a bindi. They show models and they show ads which have people wearing brightly colored clothes with smiles on their faces, with diyas, with mithai, with pictures of gods and goddesses, so that the Diwali atmosphere comes out very beautifully. And this is done by American companies where the population of Hindus is how much? Maybe 5%, 10%, I don't know. But in India, where the majority population is Hindu and Diwali is the greatest and biggest festival of Hindus with the biggest economic activity happening around, why are companies de-Hinduizing Diwali? Why are they deliberately Urduizing Diwali is my question. And what is this bakwas, Jashn-e-Bakwas about calling Diwali Jashn-e-Riwaz? Which Hindu, doesn't matter from which state he is, even from UP, he or she is, they will say that मैं दिवाली शॉपिंग के लिए जा रही हूँ और मैं दिवाली शॉपिंग के लिए जा रहा हूँ, मॉल जा रहा हूँ, खाना खा के वापस आ जाऊंगा. Who says हम जश्न रिवाज के लिए खरीदारी है, दुकान करने बाजारे मॉल जा रहे हैं और फिर इडली है, डोसा और सांबार है, दाल खा के घरे वापस आ जाएंगे? Who speaks like this? Please tell me. Do you speak like this?
Not at all.
Does anyone speak like this?
Yeah.
People in Maharashtra will say, आता मी दिवाळीच्या खरेदीला जाणार आहे आणि नंतर मी रेस्टॉरंट मध्ये काहीतरी खाऊन मी घरी परत येईन. Would we ever say कि हम जश्न रिवाज के लिए खरीदारी है, दुकान करने जा रहे? Would any Hindu ever say this about Diwali? So why use that in advertising? And that is the problem. So when this backlash happened with this particular brand, and it wasn't just that I did it, a whole lot of people did it. They pointed out that this brand had deliberately de-Hinduized Diwali. Then they backtracked, and overnight, literally, Jashn-e-Riwaz became Jilmil Si Diwali. Okay, so it's in a way the Ghar Wapsi happened of the festival, but the photograph campaign, but the marketing campaign of the brand remained the same. The models still look like they have come for somebody's funeral. They don't have any joy on their face. They don't have any bindis. They don't have any other symbols of Hindu dharma in the background. So all they did was they changed the name of the campaign from Jashn-e-Riwaz to Jilmil Si Diwali. And it wasn't just this one brand either. There's a very famous Pune-based brand, jewelry brand, which traditionally has been very popular with Maharashtrian people for their Diwali jewelry shopping. And they launched a campaign that showed a model who was not even in Indian clothes and who frankly looked like she had come as a Rudali to cry at somebody's funeral. That was the general expression on her face.
Right.
So that's when I got really mad. I mean, brand after brand, marketing company after company is deliberately de-Hinduizing Diwali, and this is considered okay, and this is not considered as an assault on our cultural tradition. It was time for Hindu consumers to push back. It was time for Hindu consumers to say enough is enough. So that's when I started the trend, no bindi, no business. Now, when I started the trend, when I started the hashtag, when I tweeted about it, the first 3 words of that tweet were speaking for myself. I
Right.
was making it very clear that it was a personal choice as a Hindu who does big ticket purchases during Diwali. I make it very clear that my money will go only to those brands who show Diwali as a Hindu festival unapologetically. And
Yes.
when I say that they show Diwali as a Hindu festival, they have to show Hindu symbols. And the bindi is the most visible symbol. That is why, and also because the hashtag was catchy. That's why I use No Bindi No Business. But it just doesn't mean a bindi. It means
Right.
that you have to show Hindu symbols in your ads, like flowers, like diyas, like rangoli, like puja, like mithai, like joyful clothes, like family togetherness, everything that an average Hindu associates with Diwali. If you don't show me that respect as a consumer, I'm telling you that I don't want to spend my money on your brands. There is a lot of choice in the market available. I will go to other brands. That was my simple contention, that if you want Hindu money, learn to respect Hindu traditions. Very simple. It was just me. I am an individual. I am a private citizen of this country, and it is my democratic right and it is my freedom of expression to say that this is my money and I will decide how I spend it. It was not a fatwa. I am a Hindu. I don't issue fatwas. I did not say that every Hindu should do it. I did not say that all such advertisements should be banned by law. I did not say that the government should issue a fatwa saying that such advertising campaigns should not be done. I did not say that such advertising campaigns should not be allowed. I said, as an individual speaking for myself, I have decided that I will not give my custom or my business to brands who de-Hinduize Diwali. It was very clear. Even the most stupid person reading my hashtag would have got it. But after that, and I did anticipate that this trend would become very popular because No Bindi No Business is a very catchy hashtag. But I did not realize, to tell you the truth, that this brand would become this popular and it would catch the people's imagination so much. But what has happened is that it's not just about one hashtag. It is because the companies, corporates have been doing this constant de-Hinduization of Hindu festivals for long. And people are realizing it. They may not have said it upfront. They are realizing it and they are feeling the resentment. That feeling of resentment was there in Hindu minds, which is exactly why this hashtag became a rallying point around which ordinary Hindus rallied. That is why this hashtag became so popular. It started trending. There were last I saw there were more than 30,000 people who used this hashtag in their trends. It trended continuously for 2 days, and it was a trend started by just me, just one individual person. It is not a paid trend. It is not a promoted trend. I haven't spent a single naya paisa. Nor
Right.
have I asked anyone to trend this, nor have I tagged anyone said, Ki, you also start using this trend. I have not done that. This hashtag has trended and has turned into a movement now. It's no
Right.
longer a hashtag. It's no longer a social media campaign. It is a movement on the ground. And I'll tell you why. From day before yesterday, I've been getting many calls and many messages from people I personally know, people who are not even on Twitter, people who are not even on Facebook. And they are saying that we got your hashtag and your point of view from a lot of other sources, from news, from WhatsApp, wherever. And now when we go through the city, we have started looking at the Deepawali hoardings and we have started noticing whether the models have a bindi or not, whether they look happy or not, whether there is any Hindu symbol in the advertisement or not. And we have started noticing it. Before that, we never noticed it, but now we have started noticing it. And now we will decide that we are not going to spend any money on those brands. That is the success of this trend.
Absolutely, Shefali ji. Thank you so much for beautifully explaining it. I think, like you very rightly said, the elements of a festival like Diwali that you have shared with us, be it the color. I mean, we are a civilization which is very colorful, right? We don't live in black and whites. We there is a joyous atmosphere that is attached with Diwali. And I was going through your Twitter timeline. I see the kind of pictures that, some of these companies have put. It is indeed very depressing. I mean, there is no smile, there is no sense of laughter or joy, which is something that this festival is all about, and as are most Hindu festivals. And it's very surprising to see, a representation like that. And to my mind, I think it is very clear that somewhere there is an attempt to influence the pop culture. Because I think anybody who thinks that, ads don't matter, movies don't matter, what we see don't matter, I think they don't know what they're talking about, because we see that the youth literally looks for cues in ads, in some of these models, and all of these icons, these movies, to actually live their lives in a particular way. And I think in that context, your campaign is very important, because I think the bindi in particular, I think has been, there have been very many attempts to portray it in a particular way. So can you tell us about the bindi itself? I mean, why do you think this is sort of the target of such people?
See, the bindi is a target because the bindi, as I said, is the most visible symbol of being a practicing or observing Hindu. That's a fact. Right. The importance of wearing a bindi is a different topic altogether. I'm not going to get into that because that is not really my domain. I am saying that you go on the streets of India, anywhere, and you see the average Hindu woman. I'm not talking about your woke people who are there at your nearest barista or nearest India International Center sipping champagne and eating kebabs. I'm saying the general Hindu. You go to a temple and you see the temple going women, or you go to see any pandal and you see the women who have come there for the puja, you will see that 90% of them will be wearing a bindi. A big bindi, small bindi, doesn't matter. Bindi or sindoor. Some cultures wear only sindoor. That's okay. I consider that also a part of the bindi. Bindi movement, let's say. So the bindi is obviously the most visible symbol of being a Hindu, and you see that everywhere in the south. If you go to Tamil Nadu, you will see women wearing bindis. You will see men wearing namams. You in Maharashtra also you see men wearing that shindur ka tika between their eyebrows. It has a scientific reason, but I'm not going to go into it because I'm not the best person to talk about it. But I am saying that 90% of Indian women today who celebrate festivals wear bindi at least on festival days. I'm not talking about your deracinated, self-loathing, woke Indians who hate every Indian symbol anyway. So I don't even count them as Indian. They may be Indian by nationality or passport, but mentally they've already seceded. But they are not my target audience. I am talking about the ordinary Hindu consumer who celebrates festival, who goes to temples, who believes in Hindu gods, who does his prayers or does her prayers. That is the Hindu who celebrates Diwali. That is the Hindu who buys big ticket things on Diwali, who saves for the entire year to spend and buy big things on Diwali. That is the person who wears a bindi all the time, or if not all the time, then definitely for festivals. So, which is why the bindi is the most visible symbol of Hinduness, of being Hindu. But when I say no bindi, no business, I'm not just saying only about the bindi. I am saying show Hindu symbols, show diyas, show pantis, show sky lanterns, show lights, show electrical lights, show rangoli, show mithai, show aarti thali, show pujas, show children and families together. Everything that comes to your mind when you think Diwali. When you think Diwali, what comes to your mind, Kamal? Does it come to your mind that you're wearing a sad grey outfit, looking morose and looking like this, like no expression in your face? You probably looks like you are something out of a horror movie like Omen or something like that. So why are they showing people with faces like that, like somebody died in their family to celebrate Diwali? Exactly. Why is there not even a simple modicum of respect for your consumer? Every brand should have that in mind, that know your consumer, respect your consumer, and then treat the consumer as God. Isn't that what marketing is all about? Understanding your consumer. So find out what your consumer wants. Your consumer is an observing Hindu. In his or her home, At least for Diwali, at least for Ganesh Chaturthi, at least for Puja, at least for all other religious festivals, he or she puts a bindi. That is a fact. You go anywhere, any brand research, any market research company will tell you that.
Right.
तो समाज सेवा क्यों कर रहे हो? Why are you doing? If you are a corporate company, your job is to sell your product to your consumer. So respect your consumers' wishes, respect your consumers' sensibilities, respect your consumers' traditions, and then start a marketing campaign around that. Don't look down upon your consumer. Don't tell your consumer that everything you're doing is wrong, that you're stupid, you're superstitious, and I am this great oracle who's going to tell you a new way of life. So I say that, oh, Diwali should henceforth be called Jashni Rivaz, so you should call it Jashni Rivaz. My models are without a bindi, so you should all roam around without a bindi. My models look like they have lost a close family member and they are about to, attend their funeral. So you should also look like that on Diwali. That is the implicit arrogance, implicit elite arrogance that marketing agencies have been doing. And my point is against that. I will say it again. This is an individual movement. It is not a fatwa. I have never said anywhere that all Hindu women should wear a bindi at all times. Nor have I said that if you are a Hindu woman and you don't wear a bindi or sindoor, you cannot be called a Hindu. That is a fatwa. And I am a Hindu. Hindus don't issue fatwas. People who issue fatwas are different. But the sad part is the so-called feminist or woke, quote unquote, they're not liberal at all. They're the most illiberal people, but they call themselves woke liberals, who are criticizing this trend, are deliberately misinterpreting my hashtag and my movement and saying that I am insisting that every Hindu woman should wear a bindi. Show me where have I said it. Exactly. My Facebook wall is open. My Twitter wall is open. I have been on social media since 2009. I have made many public appearances. I write in newspapers. My books have been published. Find one sentence where I have said that every Hindu woman should wear a bindi at all times, or where I have implied even that Hindu women who don't wear a bindi are not Hindu enough. Please show. This is my open challenge to anyone who wants to take it.
Absolutely.
But they will never take it. All I am saying is this is my personal choice as a Hindu consumer who has disposable income to spend, that I choose to spend it on brands who respect my traditions, who respect my symbols, who respect my religious sensibilities, and I will buy only from them. That is a democratic right. That is a democratic right that Indian Constitution has granted me. That comes under freedom of expression. And if I start a hashtag called No Bindi No Business, this is what is implicit and implied in it. And if you don't like it, that's your problem. If you want to criticize it, that's your problem too. But do not call it the Talibanization of Hindus, because it is not a fatwa. And when you call it the Talibanization of Hindus, please show me exactly how many times have you criticized the real Taliban? How many times have you criticized the real cultural practices which are invasive, which are dehumanizing others, which are othering other faiths, and which are treating other faiths as something that's below dignity? When people from a certain community, they take over public spaces for their namaz and they stop traffic on busy roads, how many of you have said stop it? How many of you have said stop it to illegal slaughter on Bakri Eid in housing societies, in cities where there is absolutely no care for hygiene and animals are slaughtered in open? How many people have raised their voice against it? The same people who are today accusing me and saying that I am doing Talibanization of Hindus. How many times have they said, the people who call themselves feminists, and they say that, I am being a Hindu Taliban. How many times have you spoken against regressive practices like female genital mutilation, which only one religion practices even today? Have you done it? No, you go and say, oh, Taliban are so nice. They are so modern because they did a press conference. So you don't call Taliban Talibanized, but right. You call a Hindu woman, a single private citizen who has exercised her democratic right and who has said no bindi, no business is my personal decision. You accuse her of Talibanizing Hinduism. Do you even see the shameful hypocrisy in this?
Absolutely.
Do you even see the complete brain dead wokeness of this? All the opposition that's being organized of this hashtag. I find it immensely funny.
Right. I think the motivation is clear. Anybody, any Hindu, when they stand up for their identity, when they find a voice for themselves, that is not acceptable. Hindus cannot, speak up for themselves. They cannot speak about their identity. They cannot speak about their own culture, their traditions. At the moment somebody does that, I think there is an absolute pushback, blowback against that. And it is ironic that people, the same people who don't see any issues when there are some protesters who break mobile towers, find a fault with a democratic, a digital protest, and a campaign which is absolutely democratic. Somebody who supports it can support it, somebody who wants to oppose it can oppose it. That is somehow all sorts of Talibanization and whatnot, and I'm sure there are a whole bunch of other tags that they will be using as well to discredit this campaign. And I think also, coming back to the and I think I was again looking at some of these posters that have come up in newspapers, some television ads, some online ads. And it's ironic that most of these misrepresentations and the most grimmest and the most saddest, the most depressing of visuals tend to be associated with, special collections for Hindu festivals or bridal collections and things like that, which is the most ironic thing. And I think, but Shefali ji, also there is the larger picture here. And I think if we could also talk about that, because we've seen this particular case in the last few days, but there have been many, over the years,
That's
especially
right.
like you mentioned in the last couple of years, particularly, we've seen the Tanishq ad campaign, which was literally whitewashing, a particular kind of relationship, where the empirical and the real evidence that we see on the ground shows us how so many Hindu girls and women have been subjected to what they have been subjected to, predatory conversions. And there is so much evidence. Even in recent days, we have seen in Uttar Pradesh, a lot of details have emerged about how these conversion rackets are run, the kind of money that is poured into these. But somehow you come up with these ad campaigns, you use the movies to sort of whitewash this and present a reality which is anything but reality. And I think there are so many examples like that. Targeting, like you said, condescension against Hindu festivals, Hindu rituals. I think Manyavar's case is again in a few weeks ago. We've seen how Kanyadan was attacked. We've seen how Karwa Chauth is regularly attacked, right? And we've also seen Siet. And I want to name a few examples here, where again, this was again on Diwali, and how Diwali is again a cause for all the troubles in the world. That is the standard sort of a portrayal. But people reading namaz on the ground, on public spaces, on roads, and obstructing people's lives, somehow that is absolutely forgotten. That is not even a mention of all of that. But can you tell us about the bigger picture here? Because clearly it's not just about one particular brand or one particular issue. There's a larger thing going on here. And what's driving all of this?
See, Kamal, the basic problem here is that brands, or not just brands, I think it is the marketing agencies which are full of these woke, deracinated, brain-dead people who think that it is incumbent upon them to reform Hinduism and basically to demonize every Hindu tradition, every Hindu festival, every Hindu symbol, and basically give Hindus a constant inferiority complex, which is why such campaigns are being planned, which is why such campaigns are being executed. And the brand owners are either too stupid to realize it, too clueless to realize it, or they think that these ad campaigns don't affect their sales ultimately. That is my only read in this. Right. The Siet ad that you're talking about is the most brazen example of Hindu hatred I have seen in recent years in Indian Indian corporate life.
Yes.
First of all, you have a Muslim actor who has gone on record saying that he feels unsafe in Modi's India. You get that particular actor deliberately. You don't get a Hindu actor. You get that particular actor who is Muslim, who is talking about Diwali. He has no business to talk about Diwali.
Right.
First of all, good, bad, or whatever, it is not his festival. He has no business to talk about Diwali. Then he comes and says that, oh, you should not you should not light fireworks. Someday we'll be smart enough and samajhdar enough that we will not light fireworks in the streets. If you have any himmat, if you have a little bit of spine left, then please give this gyan to your own co-religionists who are blocking public roads and signals and public places every Friday to do their namaz. Why isn't nobody telling them that your religion is your personal lookout? आपको जो भी करना है आपके घर में जाके करो. Do your namaz inside your homes. Do your namazes inside your mosques. Why are you taking over public spaces? Is a question that everybody should be asking, but nobody is asking. When will there be a campaign? When will Mr. Goenka start a marketing campaign where Akshay Kumar will tell Muslims that someday you will be samajhdar and you will not block public roads by doing namaz on Fridays? There is a court order which says that 5 times namaz on loudspeakers is blatantly illegal. Who is enforcing it? It's a court order, okay? It's not just any person saying it.
Right.
Is there any administration in India? Is there any police department who is going to enforce this? No. It's something as simple as that. But you're going to tell Hindus that Holi pe pani mat waste karo, Diwali pe diye mat jalao, mithai mat khao, fireworks mat jalao. Why is every Hindu festival demonized again and again and again? You're talking about Karwa Chauth. So every year when Karwa Chauth comes, there's a lot of content on social media, off social media, about how Karwa Chauth is regressive, how Karwa Chauth is patriarchal, how Karwa Chauth is superstitious, how fasting for your husband's health is a regressive 14th century practice, and how it has no scientific relevance, all of that. And now suddenly you come up with ads which show two lesbian lovers who are keeping Karwa Chauth for each other. And then suddenly the same rituals become, oh, so romantic, symbol of love for each other. Yeah. How does this change? So if a wife does it for her husband, the same ritual becomes patriarchal, same ritual becomes misogynist, same ritual becomes superstitious. But when two women do it for each other, it's suddenly the same rituals is like new version of Valentine's Day. Does nobody see this as Hindu misia, entrenched Hindu misia in India's corporate life? That is the question I'm going to ask. Yes. And somebody has to ask that question. And I'm telling you, that the Hindu on ground understands this. He or she may not be able to articulate it. He or she may not be able to say it upfront because they don't have the means to their disposal. By means, I mean they don't have the platforms to their disposal, but they're understanding it. And that is the reason why a simple hashtag, No Bindi No Business, started by one woman, one private citizen like me, has reached more than 15 lakh people in this country today. Which is why Fab India had to change Jashne Rivas to Jilmile Diwali, had to do their Ghar Wapsi. And which is why a company which has a turnover of 1,500 crores had to block me, an individual, a private individual, on Twitter. It's not me. Can you imagine a company which has a marketing budget of crores and crores blocks one person, one person's voice? And nobody sees that as an attack on freedom of expression. Right. Nobody sees, no Editors Guild of India issues statement saying that a brand cannot do that. I don't mind. I consider it as a greater certification that my campaign is working. Right. That a multi-crore brand in India, which has outlets in almost all the states, is considering me a threat enough, considering my voice is a threat enough to block me on Twitter. I take it as a huge badge of honor. I take it as a feather in my cap. I don't mind it at all. It is showing me that my campaign is working. It is showing me that Fab India is taking this hashtag seriously, that it has turned into a movement. The other brand, the jewelry brand in Pune, where they had shown the model looking like she had come for somebody's funeral. And I appeal to people that if you agree with me, go to their page and say no Bindi, no business. So their page, Facebook page, it had 757 comments, out of which 700 comments said we are not going to buy from you, no Bindi, no business. Right. It said that we are your regular customers. We used to buy from you all the time, but we are not buying from you anymore because you are Hindu hating. You don't respect Hindu symbols, but you only want Hindu money, which is why we are not going to buy from them. They got the feedback. They took down that post. Not only that, they had shot their advertising campaign earlier, and I had seen those pictures and I posted those pictures also. And those pictures had the model without a bindi. They photoshopped a bindi on that model and they released their latest ad, which was released yesterday. That is the impact of this movement. The impact of this movement, I will not call it a hashtag because it's no longer just a hashtag. The impact of this movement is such that everybody, from Mirror Now to BBC to Times of India to all the so-called left rags, every single news outlet, online or offline, have covered this trend. Some of them have used it to criticize me. Some of them have used it to demonize Hindus as usual. But the point is, nobody has been able to ignore it. You may like it, you may not like it, you may accept it, you may not accept it, you may agree with the trend or you may not agree with the trend, you may agree with the thought, you may not agree with you may disagree with the thought. But the point is, you cannot ignore the thought. You cannot ignore the thought that the average Hindu in this country who observes festivals, who does his big ticket purchases during festival, is feeling that my sensibilities are being insulted by the same brands who are treating me like an ATM machine. They want my money. They want me to buy their overpriced products. But they are not willing to give my sensibilities respect. They are not willing to treat my traditions, my symbols, my religious parampara with respect. And I am no longer going to patronize such brands. बस उतनी ही बात है, हिंदू का पैसा चाहिए तो हिंदुओं की परंपरा का सम्मान करना सीखो. If you want Hindu money, learn to respect Hindu sentiments. It's as simple as that. No bindi, no business. Bindi hai to business hai. Bindi nahi to business nahi. Bas.
Very wonderfully put, Shefali ji. And I think the message is very clear. And I think it's literally our democratic right to demand something like this and ask for something like this. And I think we've spoken about different festivals, and I feel I wonder if there's any festival left which hasn't been attacked, or which there haven't been any negative and narratives that have been created around Hindu festivals. And we see that of course in the ad campaigns around festivals, the narratives and all of that, but also we've also seen these things play out in our day-to-day lives when we attend, when we go to places. For example, I think there was a restaurant in Delhi a few weeks ago again, which denied entry to a woman only because she wore a sari. I mean, we are living in India, in the capital of this country, where a woman cannot enter a restaurant wearing a sari. And I have actually experienced this myself. I have been denied entry. I don't remember the name, but at a restaurant in Connaught Place where I was wearing a kurta. And I think it's very clear the kind of condescension that an average Hindu has to face merely for living the way, living their lives the way they always live. How do you see this ahead? And I think how do Hindus engage with these issues? Because I see that it is time for Hindus to be conscious consumers, because I think attacks on identity, I see this as a wonderful way in which we can make our voice heard and we can resist this kind of cultural deracination that has been imposed upon us.
You're very, very right. It's about time that Hindus became conscious consumers. Hindus made brands realize that you cannot take me for granted. You cannot demonize my traditions, my religion, my way of life, my symbols, and still expect me to pay you money to buy your substandard products. This is not happening. Maybe it happened all these days, but it's not happening anymore. Enough is enough. If every Hindu decides that he's not going to buy even a chai ka pyala from somebody who does not respect his traditions and his symbols and his religious festivals, you will see a huge change in the market.
Yes.
Ultimately, consumer is the king in today's market economy. So if the consumer decides that I will give my custom or I will give my business to companies who only respect my sensibilities, every single company will fall in line. That is a given. And you've seen those changes happening. I have seen this change happening with two big brands right now in front of my eyes. So I don't see why this change cannot happen if every Hindu decides that these are my conditions. I am the consumer. I am the king. I have a choice. There are many brands in this field, and I will choose to buy only those brands who respect my sensibilities, who treat Hindu way of life with respect. I will only give those companies my custom. See, first of all, if you're selling a product, sell a product. Don't sell Samaj Seva. If you want to do social service, if you want to do change minds, you have a CSR department for that. Use that and then do some Samaj Seva. आपको product बेचना है तो product बेचो. If you want to sell jewelry, sell jewelry. Don't sell gyan on how Hindus should behave. If you want to sell clothes, sell clothes. Don't tell Hindus that you should start calling Diwali Jashne-e-Riwaz. Enough of this Jashne-e-Bakwas. The Hindus have had enough of this Jashne-e-Bakwas, which is why every Hindu needs to realize that he or she needs to be a conscious consumer, and you have to say upfront in everything from the milk you buy in the morning to the big ticket purchases that you make. No bindi, no business. No Hindu symbols, no business. That is all.
Absolutely. I think it is high time that Hindus become conscious consumers and watch where our hard-earned money is going. Thank you so much, Shefali ji, for sharing your perspectives on this very important subject. It has been so enriching to speak with you as always.
Thank you so much, Kamal. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to put forth what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shefali ji. And to our viewers, I would request you to please share this video so that this reaches the maximum number of people. And we'll be back with another such conversation. Until then, take care. Namaste.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.